Hey, my name is Gigimurakami. I'm an Ignatz nominated horror manga artist and illustrator, best known for my supernatural horror manga, Resenter, which was published as a one-shot at Viz, and here's why now is the best time to become a mangaka. So I was in middle school when I picked up the habit of reading manga, and I read stuff like Chobits, Nana, Bleach, and Naruto. And at the time, I thought, wow, these stories are so cool. I really want to make a manga. And now, with Japanese manga being so popular and more accessible than ever, the same thought is hitting creative weebs all over the globe. So I just wanted to give a few reasons as to why I think now is the best time to actually pursue your dream and become a mangaka. So I have a few reasons. Reason one is because it's your dream, right? Like, why else would you click on this video? I think that now is a good time to become a mangaka because it is your dream. And you have a right to do what makes you happy. I know that there's a lot of weird discourse online about what is real manga, what is not real manga. And honestly, I think all of that shit is for the birds. I remember when I was in middle school, like I said, it was in middle school when I really wanted to become a mangaka that I don't know, I would read manga, and specifically, I will never not talk about this, but there is a specific manga publisher from back in the day that would have stamps on their manga that said 100% authentic manga. And from those stamps, I thought I would not be able to be a mangaka because I wasn't Japanese. And I was like, oh, okay, well, forget it then, I guess. This is something I really want to do, but I guess I can't. And I will never forget that. So before people who I don't know and who don't know me decided that they wanted to say that I couldn't do manga, I would tell myself that I couldn't do it. And I was doing a disservice to myself. And the way that I know that I really wanted to become a manga artist is I came back to it. After all these years, I tried doing other stuff, and I was okay at doing some other creative jobs. But at the end of the day, doing manga, creating stories is what I really wanted to do. And so now is just the time to do it. You have a right to do what makes you happy. Ignore all the purists and all the people who are saying your manga is not real manga unless you're Japanese, or unless it's being created in Japan, or unless it's bullshit. It is bullshit. And I've come to the conclusion that no matter how close you get your manga to Japan, the goalpost for these people always moves. It always changes. Before it used to be well, you're not Japanese, so you can't be a real mangaka. And then we have foreign mangaka who are getting published in Japan, and it's for example, right? We have Boichi, who is the mangaka, who's the artist for Dr. Stone. And then all of a sudden it's no. Well, yeah, since Boichi's around, you don't have to be Japanese, but your manga has to be made in Japan. And it's Okay, so what about like Japanese nationals or people who are ethnically Japanese who are abroad? Like, is their manga no longer called manga, or like, what are we, what's really good? So even if you work in a situation like me, like even if you work with a Japanese publisher, your editor is a Japanese like editor, then it's like, well, because it wasn't published in Japan, then like all of a sudden it's not manga. And it's like people can't even make up their minds as to like where the goalpost stops and starts at. So, I personally think that if it is your dream to become a mangaka, now is absolutely the time to do that. There's so much resources. There's so many resources online now on like how to create manga, to the point where you even have like professional Japanese mangaka giving people insight on how to create manga, which is absolutely incredible. When I was like 12 years old reading Nana and like reading Naruto, there's no way in the world that I would have ever thought that like a professional mangaka would have ever sat down to be like, hey kid, this is how you do this. Like Hirohiko Araki wrote a book on how to create manga. Like, what world are we living in right now? Like, absolutely right now is the time to do this. Like there's no need for to even think twice about it if this is something that you want to actually do. In addition to like pursuing it now because it's your dream, something that like I want to talk about in another video, but like I think it is important to do it now because like regret sucks. Like nobody wants to constantly have this dream or this goal that they want to pursue, and like they just have it in their head and they think about it all the time, but they just don't pursue it. I know that people say that insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and like expecting different results. And I think like having a dream or a goal or a thing that you want to accomplish in your head and not pursuing it is like, it's pretty close to insanity in my opinion. And if not insanity, then like definitely being stuck in hell. Like that is probably like my idea of like being stuck in hell. Like the amount of regret and the amount of like just like I can't live with that level of regret of knowing that there's a thing that I really want to do and that I want to try and I can't do it, or I don't allow myself to do it. It's one thing like if you do it and then, you fail at it or it doesn't work out or you just didn't have enough time because you were pursuing things still within that goal. You know what I mean? But like the full overarching goal, like just not doing it, just not trying towards it, it doesn't have to be perfect, but at least like to try towards it. Like if I couldn't at least try to see if I could make it, I think the regret would really eat me up inside. The thought of like, wow, what could I have become had I attempted, like had I gave it my best effort? Like where could I have reached? What level could I have reached? I think even if I were to have failed, I would still be satisfied with that failure because at least I tried. And I know that like I wouldn't have any regrets because I attempted to do the thing. So that is point one. Now is the best time to become a mangaka because it is your dream for those reasons. Point two of why now is the best time to become a mangaka is because honestly, manga is popular with both readers and publishers right now. as I have been on this journey, mind you, like this like whole thing is like slightly outlined out, this whole like, you know, my little script or whatever that I have. This right here is off the cuff, but as I was outlining this script, I had certain thoughts in my head, and like, especially like within this section of it. And now that some time has passed since I've written this script, and I've spent a little bit more time within the world of publishing, I do want to amend some of these points or elaborate a little bit more. So I will let you know when I want to elaborate a little bit more. But to add on to this point, that manga is popular now with both readers and publishers. People are reading manga now more than ever. It's no secret that manga has gained traction. And I think that is a good thing. I think, of course, it's a double-edged sword, but I think overall, it is a very good thing. As somebody who has been a manga reader since they were very young, I think it's a good thing. I think it's fantastic that like people are more open-minded to reading manga, because that was not the case when I was younger. And I know like everybody likes to be like, oh, well, you know, all of a sudden anime and manga is popular now, but in my day I was bullied. And it's like, okay, like I hear a lot of Gen Zers saying that shit, and it's like, bro, like 10 years ago, like you were in high school or something. Like, bro, like that is like not even high school. Like, bro, like manga and anime has been popular for quite some time now. Like as a millennial, I will say like it wasn't as it like I'm just gonna be upfront, like it wasn't that bad for you. It wasn't that bad for you. It wasn't even that bad for me. I was having this conversation with my friend. I'm off script, I'm sorry. I was having a conversation with my friend Opal Lines, and we were really going in and like, bro, the baby Gen Zers that are like doing the manga and anime content and are like, man, I used to get bullied for liking manga and anime. And it's like, no you didn't. It was pretty popular. Like it was pretty popular at that time. Like, no you didn't. Like I didn't even really get bullied, but like I was looked at as being weird. The people who really got it bad was like the freaking older millennials and like Gen Xers who were doing fan subs on VHSs back in the day, like right after the Satanic Panic, and they had to deal with like violent like anime like OVAs and trying to do like fan subs. Those are the people that had it bad. So like I just got to throw that little caveat in there that like, no you didn't you didn't have it bad. No you didn't. But anyway, the point is that nowadays, you know, manga is but it's been mainstream for quite some time now. And not just manga, I think comics in general has gotten, well, maybe not like, I don't know, superhero stuff, but like, I feel like comics have gotten more popular overall, recently, especially like with webtoons, and if we're thinking about the general landscape of like comics, it's gotten like, there are for sure much more readers now than there were in like, you know, the 2000s or something. In the 2000s, like when Tumblr comics were around, and there was also there was this like comics website that you could post to, and I forgot what it was. It was in my mind for like a quick second, but like, you know, it was mostly like webcomic stuff, and like it was pretty niche. But now people are out and they're reading, so you know, you have the opportunity to get readers at like record numbers, to be honest. Stuff that's like on par with big publishers, which is incredible, because that was not like 20 years ago, that wasn't really a thing, you know. It's pretty amazing. It really is pretty amazing. But that is one reason why now is a good time to become a mangaka. Another good reason, which I will amend a little bit, but like my original point is that publishers are more accepting to works that have manga aesthetics and characteristics. And I still think that this is slightly true, but now that I've spent a little bit more time in publishing, specifically in American publishing, and I'm not talking about like Marvel or DC, I'm talking about like trad publishing, graphic novels, YA, kids literature type stuff. I will say that I guess it depends on like where your demographic is, right? Like for the stories that you want to create, I will say that there is a gap happening in like American traditional publishing where like having manga style and aesthetics is still like, or characteristics and aesthetics is like, there is a gray area right now. And this is something that I'm learning on my own, like in real time. This is something that I'm learning, is that there is a gray area. This is kind of like the Wild Wild West a little bit when it comes to traditional publishing and manga, and the publishing of foreign mangaka. That there is like, it's the Wild Wild West. But I think that that's still a good thing, because there's no precedent made yet. Like, you are still able to build your own stuff, if that makes sense. Like, it's a lot of work because like you have to kind of be the first, or you have to kind of be like the I guess the trendsetter, or like the, you know, the first, the pioneer. And that kind of stuff is hard, you know, because people like trad publishing, you know, the money is not like, these are not wild, like these are not tech companies, you know what I mean? Like they don't have like tons of money to just throw around. So they you know, they want to know if they're going to make their money back, if the budget's going to budget. So that is I will amend that second point of publishers being accepting to works. I do think that like stuff that is like manga inspired, I guess, which I feel like is so stupid, but whatever. You understand what I mean, right? When I say manga inspired stuff, like, or like the idea of like manga inspired stuff instead of using just like manga. I feel like the manga inspired stuff is like what is really popping off with like in traditional publishing in America. I will say that, because if you go abroad, like I went to Spain, I went to Barcelona, and I also I vlogged the process. I went to go see Nao Kurosawa with Shinji, but we went to Manga Barcelona, which is like a manga and gaming and kind of Japanese pop culture convention, with the primary focus being on manga and books. But when I went there, I saw a few publishers that actually had published work by Spanish mangaka. So like this is not like, it's only in the US where people are like being weird about this, you know what I mean? And that extends to publishing as well, to like trad publishing, where it's like, you know, I don't know, people are being a little strange. But like I said earlier, my earlier point, people are reading manga now more than ever. And like I said again, like right now, the amount of views and like readers that you can gain by like self-publishing your stuff, putting it on like webtoons, or putting it on, I think it's Manga Plus creators, like the amount of readership that you can gain is incredible. So, you know, I think that because of that, it is a great time to try to become a manga artist. There's also there is also stuff like what do you call this? There's also like contests to contests for manga artists where your stuff can be printed in Japan. So it's like, even though it's not American publishing, there are still publishers that are out there that are for sure looking to publish the manga that you want to create. So it's a good time. Another point that I want to make is, and I guess kind of like elaborate a little bit more on the readership, is that this is the best time to become a mangaka, because now is the easiest time to start and to gain readers. This point is kind of elaborating a little bit more on the points that I mentioned earlier, but bear with me, right? Right now, you can create in any way that you choose. You can create manga in any way that you choose, like with or without a publisher, right? You can self-publish a manga. People have been self-publishing comics for years and years and years. And have been putting their comics online for people to read for years and years and years. The thing now, though, is that because the internet has blown up and the world has become so global, is that the amount of readership that you can gain now is mind-boggling, to say the least. It is absolutely mind-boggling. And so you no longer have to be stuck like messing around with traditional publishing if you don't want to. You know what I mean? Like, there are reasons to get in with traditional publishing. There are reasons to enter contests that are hosted by Japanese publishers and companies to get your manga printed in Japan. There are reasons to do these things. None of these are better than the other. None of these are good. None of these are bad. It all just depends on what your goals are. The point of the matter, though, is that they are options. Those are like the options that are out there. And so you really can choose what you want to do. And going into like self-publishing, there are platforms like Kickstarter, Indiegogo. What's the other one? There's Crowdfunder, which is a smaller platform, but you have all of these like crowdfunding platforms now where you can produce books for your manga. You can produce like merch for your manga. You can produce things. To my knowledge, I haven't seen it done yet. I'm pretty sure it has been done, but even if you wanted to make like a pilot or I've seen a pilot be kickstarted before, but if you wanted to make a pilot, or if you wanted to make like an anime or whatever for your manga, you can do that now. We're not going to jump into anime though, because that's a whole different topic, but as far as manga goes, you can create it in any way that you choose to. Another reason why now is the best time is because of social media. Social media is now available. Coming now, right? Social media is available to spread the news about your manga. This gets into like the marketing bag, which I know that a lot of artists don't really care for, because they feel like, I don't want to be in camera, I don't want to do this, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Not all artists, but there are some that feel that way. I'm obviously not one of those artists. I really don't care about being on camera or not. But I do feel like there's like a large majority of artists that are like, they just do not want to be on camera, or they don't know where to start with like marketing or whatever, or even like with social media. But another point of the matter is, social media is available to market your manga, to market your projects, which again is freaking incredible. It is mind-blowing. Obviously, like, if the story is good enough, it'll gain traction on its own, but I think that by not utilizing social media to market your manga, it's really doing a disservice to your work, and like you're doing a disservice to like the community as a whole, because if people don't know about your story because you didn't want to market it, because you don't want to learn how to use social media, or you just don't want to use social media, it's really like, it really just feels like cutting yourself off at the knees and not really like giving your story, your manga, your career as a mangaka like a chance to really grow. Personally, that's my opinion. In my experience, marketing on social media has been really beneficial for my career. And so, you know, I think it's a good idea. And the point of the matter is that we have the tools. Like, you have the tools to like do this thing, regardless if it's if you're self-publishing your manga or not, or if you're going with a publisher. The tools are there. You can absolutely let people know about your manga. So there's that. Another reason as to why now is the best time to become a mangaka is because the tools to create manga is widely available right now, and fairly affordable, might I add. I say fairly, not all of these tools are affordable, but fairly affordable. You have digital tools. There are tablets, there's iPads, you have Clip Studio Paint, you have Procreate, there's Metabang? That's another one. That's a free program that you can use to create manga on. I've never used it, but there is a mangaka who won the silent manga audition. We follow each other, actually. I can't remember their name. We just started following each other. I think their name is Elisa, I believe it is. But they were using Metabang for a while. I think they just now switched over to Clip Studio Paint since they won the silent manga audition. But they were using Metabang, I think. But there's a bunch of other tools. There's Krita, like a bunch of other tools that you can use, digital tools, that you can use to create your manga. You can also go the route that I've gone, which is analog. You can create stuff by hand on paper using G pens, using Saji pens or model pens, and using ink. You don't have to go that route, honestly. I have always worked traditionally, and as I was growing up, digital tools became available, but like I couldn't afford them, so it was to the lined paper, college ruled notebooks, and like pencils that I went. And that is just what is more comfortable for me to use to like actually draw my stuff down. When it comes to editing, lettering, toning, all of that stuff I do digitally. So I do use digital tools in my process. But, you know, if I wanted to go all digital, I could. If I couldn't necessarily go all analog, but, you know, I could if I wanted to. I have screen tones. Screen tones are available. Those are not the most affordable. I'm not going to hold you. My screen tone collection has been built up over time, and a lot of that was going to Japan and bulking up on screen tones because not too many creators use screen tones out there, so they're dirt cheap right now in Japan. But the point of the matter is these tools are widely available, some of which are even affordable. It's not cheap to buy a tablet or an iPad, but the programs that you can use to buy to use, some of the programs are free. Some of the programs are a little more costly, you know, and obviously some of the programs need subscriptions. But you know, if you want to one piece that situation, that's totally up to you and it's doable. But the point of the matter is is we have the software and we have the ability to do those things. Okay. And my last point is now is a great time. It's the best time to become a mangaka because it can save the manga industry. I don't want to be dramatic, but bear with me and like really follow me with this, right? So right now, Japanese publishers are actively looking for new stories, and not just stories from Japanese mangaka, but also from global, like international mangaka as well. There are a lot of changes happening in Japan right now. I don't know how many of you watch the news or just keep up with, current affairs that are happening internationally in general. But Japan is struggling with a few things. One of those things being low birth rates, right? People are not having kids. If people are not having kids, new mangaka coming about and new manga readers, it makes that kind of thing very difficult to maintain or to predict in the future, right? And the people who are having children, who is to say that those children are going to grow up to want to be mangaka, right? Another thing that's been happening in Japan as well is the economy is very low. The yen has been falling recently compared to the US dollar. And I would assume other currencies. I'm in the US, I use the US dollar, so that's all I know. But, these things are happening. These are real changes that are happening in the country. And within that kind of volatile climate, people are not quite thinking about creating manga. I would imagine, right? I don't know for certain, but I would imagine that it would be very difficult to find and cultivate new talent, Japanese talent, within this kind of environment, right? I think that would be a fairly difficult thing to do. And another thing is, right now, manga is global. Manga is absolutely global. There are a bunch of different manga readers around the world. When it comes to publishing in Japan, there are a ton of different manga contests. Recently, there's been the Wordless World manga contest by Kadokawa. Of course, there's the Silent Manga contest. There is, I think, the Kyoto International manga contest. There's a bunch. I can't, recall them all off the top of my head because I'm not looking on the computer. I didn't write down a list, but if you know, there's a ton of these contests, and the goal of winning these contests, other than the prize money, is that you get to have your manga published in a Japanese manga magazine. So, even with manga publishers, Japanese manga publishers, there are people that are out there looking for international talent. If you're in the US, like me, that Viz has their one-shots program that was launched in 2024. So, the Japanese publishers, they are looking for the entertainment. They are looking for the next big creator, and they're not only looking in Japan for that creator. So I think that that's really encouraging. And I think that, again, regardless of what purists and, weirdos online have to say about what really makes manga or not, the point of the matter is this is an industry that is a little shaky right now. You know what I mean? There are a lot of mangaka who are, they're aging out, or there's been a lot of people there've been a lot of mangaka recently who have passed away. We all know that in general mangaka don't have a very long lifespan, And so you need to constantly be incubating new talent. And like I said, as far as like what's happening in Japan, like that just may not be the easiest environment to incubate that new talent. Obviously, of course, like people are still, people in Japan are still like creating manga. There's a YouTube channel that I follow that follows the lives of manga editors, and they go to their different clients, and like, everything is digital, everything's online there. But they follow the different clients and like, talk about what's going on with their manga and their process and, blah, 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 blah. So that stuff is still happening, but the industry is far more invested in international talent and like manga that is not strictly Japanese than American traditional publishing is. So, if you are nervous about like getting into the publishing game, or you kind of want to, but like you don't know where to go, or you're feeling like maybe traditional publishing is like not in your corner or backing you up, Japanese publishers are looking for international talent. They don't have a problem with that. So, I think that is very encouraging that the industry as a whole is welcoming to international mangaka creating their own stories and stuff. I think that's actually freaking incredible, to be honest. It's very competitive because it's global, but there are a ton of different contests that you can join in on. So, honestly, the sky's the limit. You have all the tools and everything available to you. So, yeah. And I think that's why now is the best time to become a mangaka. So if you're currently creating a manga, please share it in the comments below. And yeah, that's all I have right now for this video. This is gonna be a long one. I don't know how this is gonna be edited, but anywho, thank you so much for listening to me talk and watching the video. If you appreciated what I had to say and you were really picking up what I was putting down, don't forget to like. Make sure that you also subscribe to the channel and share this with a fellow aspiring manga creator. And please feel free to play this back when you are feeling a little low about your goals of becoming a manga artist. It's possible, and I just want to give you some reasons as to why that is. So feel free to play this back when you're feeling a little down. And anyway, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Peace.